Welcome to Arizona, where the McLaren 720S joins the Tarantula, the Southern Black Widow and the Brown Recluse in the local I Spy book of spiders. This is a car that lets you get the wind in your hair, the sun on your face, hear the sound of a...
Hang on a minute, I haven't even put the roof down yet. And it's worth actually saying that this is a Spider that feels completely uncompromised in terms of, well, livability when it's got its roof up. This amazing new single piece roof with this glass that, at the touch of a button, goes from dark to light, alters its tinting. And in here you really couldn't tell whether this was a Spider with a roof up or a coupe. You've still got wonderful visibility all around, and this new roof has actually got two patents. One of them's to do with the synchronicity of how all the motors work together, and the other's to do with how the buttresses join to the tonneau cover at the back. There's amazing glazed buttresses, so you've still got a really good view out the back, which is obviously something that was integral to what made the 720S coupe so special. Anyway, as it will now lower at a slightly higher speed of 30 miles an hour, I'll put it down. One thing you certainly don't lose by taking the roof off is speed.
Not surprising perhaps when you've still got a 710 brake horsepower turbocharged 4-litre V8 allied to a dry weight of just 1,332 kilos.
The official McLaren figures, incidentally, set on optional Corsa tyres, cheeky, a 0 to 62 miles an hour in 2.9 seconds, which is identical to the coupe. Even up to 124 miles an hour, or 200 clicks, it's 7.9, which is just a tenth behind. What's more, flat out, this will do 212 miles an hour, which again, identical to the coupe. With the roof down, it'll do 202 miles an hour, so you're hardly missing out. Must be being close to being sucked straight out of the roof at that sort of speed. McLaren has actually trimmed the aerodynamic package so that it's different depending on whether you've got the roof up or down as to what that big rear wing does. And of course, with the roof down, whilst this is not the most musical engine as we've always said, you do get more of the pops and bangs and cracks, so you feel much more connected to it.
So the 720S's supremely impressive habitability and usability haven't been compromised in the Spider, and thanks to narrow A-pillars and the beautiful glazed buttresses, visibility out of it has been maintained too. But what about the dynamics? When the 720S Coupe was launched, there were a few questions about the Spider version, because the Coupe's carbon fibre chassis, the Monocage 2, isn't just a tub like its predecessors. It has a spine that arches all the way over the top, and in order to create the Spider, McLaren has obviously had to dispense with that stiffening spar.
And so now we have Monocage 2S.
The trouble is, as I explained in our film on the 570S Spider, that cutting away a structurally important roof is a bit like taking out the top tube of a conventional bicycle. McLaren has of course counteracted this by adding more strength into the A-pillars, C-pillars and the rear deck of the carbon chassis. But the question remains, has it worked?
This is quite a bumpy road, and just occasionally it does feel like there's a bit more shake, perhaps, certainly through the steering wheel. It doesn't feel quite as supremely, unimpeachably smooth as the last 720S I drove on an equally bumpy road in Wales.
It was something of a shock to find that the 720S Spider didn't have an identical feeling of rigidity to the coupe, as it's a trait we've come to expect from McLaren. The 600 LT Spider that I drove on the same launch, for example, was indistinguishable from the coupe version. But there was definite shake and shudder through the wheel of the 720S Spider on a bumpy road, and the suspension felt harsher and less absorbent than the coupe in sport mode, making it a little more difficult to place the nose with complete accuracy. Don't get me wrong, it's still lots of fun, and it's not as compromised as some convertible supercars I've driven, but the difference is nonetheless noticeable.
put into the active panel with Sport. Change the chassis to Sport as well. It definitely gets firmer. The engine gets more insistent, you get more of those cracks, pops. As the engineers always do at McLaren, they've tried very hard to keep weight to a minimum. So this is only 49 kilos heavier than the coupe. So down a really great bit of canyon road like this, it still feels fantastic in the way it changes direction. What an amazing piece of road this is. But what I've been thinking about is that there seems to be a sort of new breed of supercar that this is at the sort of the vanguard of, really, because, well, there used to be something called the sort of, the Super GT, which was a GT car that then was more of a supercar, perhaps. This, to me, is like a Super Tourer. No, not that sort of one. No, not that sort of one. Very cool, there they are. No, the sort of the supercar that you can tour in. Because there are all these tours that you can go off around Europe or the UK or even further afield with other supercars and go and explore, or on your own. Just use them for what you want to, in a way that you wouldn't perhaps if in an F40, say. And something like the 720S Spider is just so brilliant at long distances. And then when you get to the road, of course, you've got a supercar there. But if you're going to go touring, then, well, why not have the added benefit of being able to put the roof down so that you can see your surroundings even better, smell them, look at the particular sites. So we're here in Arizona, the cactus. There's another one, and 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 another one. In all seriousness, this place is absolutely stunning.
The Sonoran Desert is the only place on Earth where the famous saguaro cactus grows in the wild, and they can live for over 200 years, usually only sprouting their first arm at the age of 75. Arizona as a whole is the 6th largest state by area and is 10% bigger than the UK, although with only a tenth of the population. Interestingly, this was also the last of the contiguous states to achieve statehood on the 14th of February 1912, and it is home to the largest Native American territory, the Navajo Nation. Even within a short distance of its capital city, Phoenix, Arizona has this wonderfully huge, empty, untamed frontier feeling. It's fantastic.
It's sort of everything you want from the Wild West America, really.
And is the 720S everything you want from a Spider? Apart from the lack of 8 legs and a venomous bite, obviously. Well, it looks wonderful, particularly in this Belize blue. The new, silently speedy roof is splendidly sophisticated, and the electric chromic glazing is a lovely, albeit expensive, optional feature. The 720S is still stunningly fast too, but once again I find myself thinking that McLaren's Super Series car has actually been trumped by its lesser, cheaper Sports Series brethren. The sublime 570S Spider is simply less compromised dynamically by the lack of a fixed roof. So, if I wanted to wear a Stetson in a supercar and ride off into the sunset, the 570 rather than the 720 would still be my steed of choice. Ye and indeed ha.